All right, we are not live. Welcome everybody here on the replay. You are watching a recorded episode of Stoned Fruit Roll-Up. I am your co-host Rebecca Gunter, along with my esteemed co-host Kathleen Stewart. This is live, not live, pre-recorded from the Zeitgeist, the Stone Fruit Roll-Up, which is the entrepreneur's talk show. It's not everything about business has to be boring. Speaking of boring, shout out to all our live streamers out there who maybe have had StreamYard shenanigans that prevented us from going live. But when you are scrappy, Kathleen was like, let's just open up
Record
Zoom
it.
and do a screen share. Fuck it. Record it and we'll replay it because the content here is so good that we're not going to just delay it another week. So, welcome to this beautiful Zoomified sharing a PowerPoint scrappy presentation of the roll up Kathleen. I am super excited to see you here today because we have been through war and back in the last 45 minutes
We tried to
doing our
go
best.
live. Oh my God, everybody. It's been a disaster. There was like four, like I'm literally laughed so hard I'm crying over here. I can't believe it's finally happening. But in between, there was like three links to get into the call, and then it wasn't actually going anywhere. And then Rebecca's mic wasn't working. And then she accidentally muted herself and couldn't unmute herself. And then we kept having to like go back in and out to see if it was actually working or not. I almost fell off my chair like three times trying to move. I can't get my name to say Stewart. I keep trying to change it from Kathleen McDonald and I put it in every single spot possible. And it's just like, no, you actually can't change it. So, yeah, what a day.
That you can't change it here. See,
Thank
miracles are
you.
happening.
Thank you.
Now, because I changed it on my end, it doesn't mean that it's going to show up like that at your next meeting. So you might want to take a look at that. But
I
for
hope
today, we have you named as appropriately as you should be
that
named. You are
something
you are crowned the queen of content here in Zoom as well as in my heart as well as in the real world. So welcome to us. We finally looks like we made it. We finally made it.
yeah.
And I'm so excited about this episode. We've been super jazzed with the idea of creating a custom GPT, which is all the rage right now, all the rage
Hmm.
to create a custom GPT. And if you've been with us for a while or you have a chance to go back and revisit, let me advance through my slide. Oh, too far, too far. Spoiler alert. Um, we had a beautiful episode in September, Kathleen and I, where we met with the wonderful Lucas Carlson. You can see this on our YouTube and
Hmm.
probably back a little bit through the LinkedIn videos to revisit this episode, which was one of the most pivotal episodes we've ever had, and it had nothing to do with Lucas's audio quality because my man was doing a live stream on a beanbag. So
Yeah, I love that so much. I was like, are you on a beanbag?
it's been a while since Lucas has done any professional podcasting, but that did not stop him from changing our lives and our attitudes
Yeah.
about the power of ChatGPT. So if you are here, we are not here to convince you to get on board the AI bandwagon. Either you're curious about it and you want to see how people are using it, or you've decided it's a hard pass and you're not here anyway. So it's not our job to say why we were tremendously inspired. It is our job to say what did we do with that information and how has it changed our lives. Since that fateful day in September, Kathleen, how has that changed your life and your business?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so first of all, I want to say that it is no secret if anybody's ever watched any other episode with me and it talking about AI, I was so against it. I was so against AI. I was like, they're ripping people off, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're going to take over jobs, it's going to be horrible. But we realized after the conversation we had with Lucas, and he used the analogy about how like AI is essentially the sous chef and can cut the onions, but can't make things taste great. And that really changed the way that I felt about AI. So, like, yeah, people can use it for like almost anything, but it doesn't mean it's going to be good. It doesn't mean that it's going to take over people's jobs. It actually requires a lot of like training and what you call like vibing and stuff like that to even get it to produce something that is honestly usable. And that, like, I think it's actually going to create more jobs in certain ways because they're going to need people to train them. But the conversation really changed my life in a way where it's like, oh, AI isn't just there so I can use it to do mediocre shit. I use it for like therapy to talk through my issues. I have one that I call Yes Chef, and it's a James Beard Award winner for like the top five categories for the past X amount of years, who went to the best school in Switzerland. And like, so I gave it like all these really cool, like high achievements as a chef. And I was like, I'm your apprentice. We work in a home for a mom and a dad with five kids. These are the ages. This is what they like to eat. Every single week, I get a vegetable box and I upload the picture of my vegetable box. And I say, these are the deals on like meat, eggs, and whatever from my flyers. And I say, make me a meal out of this under $100, like for the whole week. I went down, like, I'm not even shitting you, from almost spending $2,000 a month on groceries for a family of seven to just around $600. And my food is
What?
fucking delicious. Like, it was already good before,
Yeah.
and I love cooking, but it's just like, here's some really cool things you can do with it. It's helping me sleep train my toddlers and not like let them cry it out and I'm like beating them or anything and letting them scream in the room. But Ellie is on the spectrum, 110%. I don't have all the tools and resources to deal with that. So I'm like, okay, you are a sleep consultant for toddlers specializing in twins who are sharing a room. This is what they're both like. And it gives me the options and opinions and things to try out that I just would have never had the access to before. And I think it's wild.
It is so wild. Similarly, I also use ChatGPT to cook all the time. I hardly ever go to an internet recipe anymore. And if you ask me why I've given up on food bloggers, it's the ads. It's how
Hmm.
long it takes me to get to a recipe. That's really makes me just kind of jump over here to ChatGPT. Similarly, I did a pork butt in the Instapot last night, and I started talking to it to try to come up with a side dish.
Hmm.
And I was like, I've got leftover white rice from the Chinese restaurant, so I can't, it had given me like some garlic lime thing. So it's already cooked, but I do have these black beans, and it kind of gave me a black bean thing to do on the stove. I was like, I don't know, I kind of want to experiment with baking. And then it was like, baking beans, holds its shape. They don't fall apart. It's creamier. And I'm like, hell yeah. The fun part is to say, hell yeah, and
Yeah.
have it talk back to me and be like, Cake Lady, you culinary genius. I sent you a screenshot where I looked up Caesar salad dressing to make from scratch, and it gave me like a mayonnaise based version, and I wanted to emulsify. And I'm like, Octophilia, I'm so disappointed in you. I really wanted to emulsify and shit. And it was like, oh snap, I didn't know it was like that.
Hmm.
It's just fun to interact with. So if you cannot be scared of it, you can have a really good
Hmm.
time. Um, I showed our little ChatGPT pictures of itself because we have an illustration of that brand mascot and some fun stuff, and it just had an existential rave, and it was wild. So I'm gonna write a blog post about that for sure and share some of those screenshots because I was tripping out. Like, ah. If you're not scared and you can experiment with it, I think that it is, to Kathleen's point, like super fun. Um, I think that it's undeniable that it's going to replace jobs. For example, like this is for us, our custom GPT is an amazing business coach and
Hmm.
strategist. And it's almost like having kind of a fractional CMO at your fingertips to be
Hmm.
able to help you ideate just from like your client perspective as well as for your own. But I think the paradigm isn't AI is coming for our jobs. It's like AI is coming for people who don't know how to use its jobs. Like the people who do know how to use it will be employed. So that is why, or
Hmm.
at least self-employer, however you want to, however you make your money, entrepreneurs out there. I don't mean to say you have a job, but you can, if you know how to use it, you're not going to be frozen out. So that is what today is all about. Is we're going to use it. Kathleen has delightfully volunteers triplet volunteered to just come put her brand in the mix, and we're gonna live, well, not live really, we're gonna
Yeah.
in real time, let's say that we're gonna in real time build a custom GPT
Hmm.
that she can use in her own business. Kathleen, give your own business a little shout out right now. I learned at Podfest you should never wait till the end of the show to drop those links. So tell people at home where they can find you and what you're doing over there at the main stage before we get into it.
Okay, well, you can find me at themainstage.ca. That's my website, and also on Threads. It's the exact same, themainstage.ca. I don't know really what to say about myself. I work with creative service-based businesses, mostly people who are neurodivergent. I help them with their pricing, their capacity, and then their client experience ops. This year, I'm launching a group program, but it's more like a hybrid experience, not just a group program. Has a lot more one-on-one support. Um, Essentially, it's a client experience, and it's going to take people either through 6 months or 12 months, whatever they want to do. Um, to make a business that actually works for them. I saw this gap in between one-on-one support and like group programs where people were just like, buy my framework. And like I bought so many frameworks and they all kind of fucking sucked for me because that's not how my brain works. So that's gonna be sick. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I hope people join it. And if it flops this time, I've already planned 3 more launches. I'm gonna give it 4 times and I'm not gonna give up. Um, and then I have a membership that I'm going to be coming out with that is exclusively about pricing support, and I don't know when I'm going to do that yet. I have an invite only retainer model. Um, yeah, so that's pretty cool where I help work on intimate level with people in the background of their business. Ooh, and I have a sick
Yes.
podcast called The Digital Junk Drawer, which I fucking love now. I love doing it so much. You can find me on
We're
Spotify
gonna,
and Apple.
yeah. And shout out to Tony for being your podcast producer, which is
Yeah,
keeping that in the
Tony's the
family. So that
best.
he says you're getting, he says it's really coming along. Like you can see obvious improvement.
My first episode I ever recorded, I was absolutely terrified. I was like sweating buckets, didn't want to do it. I recorded it 4 times. So silly. But yeah, now Tanya just sends me a nudge and goes, "Hey, can you get me that episode? I've never been so late on work in my life." Bless his heart. But he always gets it done, and it is getting a lot easier. It's becoming a lot of fun. I see why people do it. Like if I could afford to literally employ Tony to just do my podcast and I could have a daily podcast now. I would.
Same. I would too.
Like 100%.
Same. We can dream. We can dream. Well, maybe we'll build our empire here, and building custom GPTs, and then we can bring
Yeah.
Tony on full time. Tony on full time.
Yeah.
I will take this moment to say I'm Rebecca Gunter. I'm Peach and Chief over at Stone Fruit. We are a marketing and branding agency. We specialize in positioning and messaging strategy and all the branded copy that goes with it. And these are the tools we use. Kathleen is also playing double duty as our lead leechy, who basically wrangles all of this entrepreneurial energy and stacks it into an organized workflow and strategizes her ass off to keep us moving. We've been working together in business iterations for at least 4 years, and it's obvious that we are in love. So since since before you had twins, you had to sleep train. Since
Hmm.
before then, and when mine was barely coming out of sleep training, so. Mm,
Mm.
time. Let's break into a song. Time. If Janine were here, she'd be singing time, something, something.
Something.
Anyway, without further ado, the meat of this episode. Thank you for that introduction. I hope people go find you. Also, we are at stonefruit.com. STONEDFRUIT.com. You can learn more about this show at stonefruitrollup.tv. Apply to be a guest. You never know when we're going to bring you on the StreamYard and then tell you 20 minutes later to meet us on Zoom.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, what is the meat? What are we doing here today? What is the start of this YouTube chapter of our lives? We're building a custom GPT for Kathleen. What does that mean? That means, as far as I understand it, and I kind of am, I'm like the Helen Keller of ChatGPT. I'm just feeling my way around and making sense of the world. So I am sure there are people out there who are large language model experts who will come, be like, that's not at all how it works. Maybe it doesn't, but I'm gonna show you how I do it and how I follow along with the Lucas model of, if you are a chef, your sous chef will cut the onions, but you are the tastemaker. I'm a writer and a brand strategist. Kathleen is a writer and a brand strategist. So let us apply that to this model and create something that's infinitely usable. Why do we care? Because just plugging into any level of ChatGPT, can you get great results? Of course. You can work really hard and it will learn a little bit about you at a time. A custom GPT will learn a lot about you in a finite ecosystem that also has the ability to go out and tap into the world. So the more you develop this little like petri dish of branding power, for lack of a better word, the more you can use it out in the world. If we do this, if we, not if, but when we do this for you, the results will be that you'll have something that you can go to that's already coded and kind of baked in the DNA of your business. The more you use it, the better it will be. The more I use it, the better it will be. You can only make a custom GPT on Chappy GPT. And again, I know that there are other models out there. People are loving Claude. I haven't even been in there to experiment yet, so I can really only speak to OpenAI and kind of praise at the altar of Sam Altman today because this is the platform that I'm familiar with. I do see a world where we'll be doing the like bones of something in ChatGPT and then maybe moving it to Claude to get some more creativity. And I will be talking about how much human oversight you need. I think that there is maybe a limiting belief, and I spoke about this as we did the show notes, but limiting belief on the idea that you're either lazy or you figured out like a life hack, and neither of those are true. I'm still working full time even though I have a custom GPT for every copy client. I am still working full time. It is not a set it and forget it scenario. You have to actively manage it, but if you do, what you can do, the volume you can do it, The scale you can do it, the strategy you can apply will absolutely transform the way that you do business. The things that used to hold me back, like, oh God, I have to write a sales page for that, and then I got to do a welcome sequence, and then I got to build a funnel, and then I have to
Yeah.
update my LinkedIn profile, and I have to do the Calendly stuff. That would paralyze me. The amount of copy and content I needed to do to just like be a real business with something that's customized for you, you can just start knocking shit out because not everything needs to be handmade. There, I said it. Not everything has to be handmade. And if you start, particularly if you start with some handmade stuff, you're already on the right track. So, if you're ready to take off, Kat, and if you're ready to volunteer as tribute,
Oh, always. I'm so freaking jazzed about this. I can't like sit still.
me too, me too. Okay, okay, we don't need this anymore. We will come back to that later. In fact, it's a good chance to say we run the show bi-weekly. Sometimes we have a little fits and starts, but mostly we try and adhere to a 2 week schedule and put out some fresh content. It makes sense to me that in the next 2 weeks we'll do an episode about like, okay, you've built your custom GPT. Now what? How do you use it? It's one thing for it to be sitting there, and it's
Mhm.
another thing to actually get in there and use the tools. So we'll pick up this conversation in the next 2 weeks. And now let us go back to custom GPTs. Okay. So right now, what we're actively looking at is the board for Stone Fruit, and so these are, just essentially every custom GPT that I've developed for a client or a colleague over the course of the last 3 months. This has been my practice field and how it works. So they're very different. We're not talking about, oh, I have a custom GPT for this client and they're a graphic designer, and this client's a presentation designer, this client's a logo designer, where we have consultants, we have um, podcast producers, we have business coaches, we have talent strategists, we have MBAs with doing paralegal work, we have interior designers, we have bookkeepers, we have all over the map. So when you're it really to me illustrates the power of these custom GPTs if you're able to create these like micro universes that don't get all kind of like muddy and blended together. So we'll just kind of start with that and the way that I'll show you behind the scenes at one. So let's take a look at ours. This is probably the most well developed and sophisticated custom GPT that I have on the books at all. I don't know what is my secret sauce on this one, but this thing slaps so hard. Like even sometimes I might not even be in here for a while, and it just like really delivers. So, this is what it looks like. You're kind of customizing that, and let's take a look on the back end. So to do that, you're going to come over here to your account. If you do not have a paid account, you can't make a custom GPT. So, like, sorry about it. It's capitalism at work, but here we are. Luckily, the $20 a month membership or service level will allow you to create a custom GPT. So, you don't have to have the pro version. The pro version, which is transparently $200 a month, but it means unlimited queries, unlimited. And if you're using it as much as I am, it's shut up and take my money for $200 to not get stymied and kind of run to the end of the capacity of your subscription. Okay. And so Custom GPT has a kind of a back end. And I just want to walk us through what the components are. And then we're going to go and build one for Kathleen. So when you're in create mode, that is actually actively using your GPT. Configure mode is designing the customization of it. So you want to give it a name and then you want to give it a description. This description matches this right here, which is on the left hand side. It's always going to show up, so it's public facing. Because the one of my favorite things about a custom GPT is once I develop it, I can give Kathleen or Unleashed Financial Solutions or 304 Coaching or In Transit or anybody that I've done one for their link and they can go and use this just like I can use it. The more they use it, the more I use it, the better it is. So this piece here is public facing, and I like to kind of treat that like a piece of copy. And then you've got a block here for instructions. You're limited in the amount of characters that you can use. So this isn't a situation where you just like endlessly just keep dropping more and more information. And the better your instructions are, the better the custom GPT will be. I am sure that there is some gold standard formula that the tech bras and brasinas have come up with that make these instructions pitch perfect. But how I found it in doing what we heard on Hard Fork as being some version of vibe coding is kind of going by feel. I start off with what I want the GPT to be called. I don't know anybody who's working this intimately doing custom GPTs that doesn't name theirs and start to build a relationship with it. Now, if you've read stories in the New York Times about people who take relationships really far with it, that can happen. But, I think it's like anything, just keep a healthy, secure attachment and you won't fall in love with
Computer.
your custom sex bot. Yeah, exactly. So I'll generally start her off and tell her what she's to be called. If we went to the Unleashed GPT, because that business has a mascot whose name is Zelda P. Money'sworth, hers is you are called you are called Zelda, Zelda P. Money'sworth, Zelda P, ZP, ZPM, Miss Money'sworth if you're nasty. Um, so it's a chance to kind of play with your own brand mascot. We've been living with this controversial octopus called Octopus Ophelia for a long time, and I thought she could have a nice home being our brand personality here as a GPT. Then I tell her what I want to be called. You can say, I'm sure with yours it's going to say cat, or Kaya, or whatever you want to be called. But because a lot of people are using this GPT, or it's going to be used by other people, I have given it just kind of like a long list of hilarious fruit names. So
Bob.
yours might say cat, but ours are like awesome avocado, perfect peach, obviously awesome olive, creative coconut. Just something to give it some personality. Then I tell it what we're supposed to do together. Together, we will use the amazing brain power of creative humans and the incredible computing prowess of Octophilia to design and build an agency that specializes in brand strategy, branded copy, and content development. Our uniqueness lies in a specialized interpretive lens we call branthropology, the application of the anthropological lens to identify and define brand identity, positioning, and messaging. We are high end, high touch, and extremely cool. This work we do in this GPT will range from business development, research, strategic planning, business modeling, and marketing. It is our goal to be clear, communicative, community focused, and very clever. Our URL, because it can read websites,
Mm-hmm.
and then brand voice guidelines. Just something to give it some parameters for the voice we want. Shock with substance, startle your readers, but not for the sake of shock alone. Back it up with meaningful insights, humor, or hard truths. Playful provocation, dee. Some way to put a container, deliciously disruptive, something to put a container on the voice. Quirky confidence, call to adventure, I agree. A little bit of a pop culture edition, because I like that. Some zeitgeisty zingers, things like that. So I'm giving it what is its name? What does I want it to call me? What is our job? What are we doing here? What are the topics we're covering? And some sort of container on the voice. I think you have about 300 characters to create some instructions. The next piece here is conversation starters, and that's as if I want something to pop up down here. I haven't quite mastered what they're gonna mastered what these should be, so I generally kind of leave them alone. But some examples might be like, let's write some emails, and you can see that it's showing up over here, so that when we're in create mode, these are just keyboard shortcuts. Whatever you might want to do to just prompt it. So maybe it's like, let's start a worksheet, let's strategize, let's do some business planning. It takes the first kind of toss the volleyball out if you've got some standard questions. Like I said, I just kind of leave those alone. I have them on one. I don't really play with them that much, but maybe I should. This is the most important part here, in my opinion. Well, the instructions are really important. Is to feed its knowledge bank, and the more you can feed its knowledge bank, the better off you'll be. So because this is our, Stone Fruit GPT, it's got Rebecca, it's got website copy, our origin story, a launch plan, strategy, positioning, um, keywords, our brand voice guide, a couple of articles, our consumer avatars, our customer journey. The more you can add here, the more it's going to understand. Um, if you don't have a lot to feed in here, we're going to feed as much as we can, which is what we're going to do today. We feed as much as we can, and then we go and create a bunch of brand foundational stuff in a document, download it, and then put it in the knowledge library. So if you don't have a lot to work with, you can start building the pieces. I like to think of it like Lego. You can start building the pieces a little bit at a time and then bring them all together. So we that's the work we will actually be doing for Cat, but I wanted to show you the back end here. Then you've got some capabilities here if you want it to be able to generate images using Dolly, which is an AI illustrator. I've gotten uh, a whiteboard before, and I don't even barely know how I got it, and I could never get back there again. I can get it to draw charts and tables, but I haven't found a lot of success with like illustrate the customer journey for me in a visual map that looks like a game board, and it'll embrace the idea, but then nothing like really comes out.
Yeah.
The actions, I don't even. This is above my pay grade. What the actions do. This is really more of like an Athena thing. So, report back, y'all, on what these actions are for. If you really want me to tell you, I can't. So I don't know. And then there's some additional settings. This is super important. Bookmark this stuff right now. Use conversational data in GPT to improve our models. Check it or don't check it. If you want to know that you have done everything within your power to make sure that ChatGPT is not using your content to teach other people, make sure this is unchecked.
Mm,
Now, do I believe that OpenAI is making a firewall with a check mark and that that this is pristinely walled off and that the learning models aren't tapping into this information at all? I do not. I do not. But I also know that all I can do is decide if I'm going to check this box or not check this box. This one says you are allowed to use my conversation to train other GPT models. I've made that choice consciously, even though I know that means my writing's going to be out there, my business strategy is going to be out there, my avatars are going to be out there, my brand voice, my products, maybe my intellectual capital is going to be out there, even though I know that the results I get from giving it something to play with far outweigh the risks of what's going to happen to my intellectual property, to my IP. Also, I just kind of firmly believe that I'm an idea factory and my POV can never be replicated. So if you want to take my business plan and go cry and recreate Stone Fruit, I welcome you to do it. If you want to take the Rebecca Gunter voice and try and create something, a really unique writing style, okay, I guess all the writing's better for it. I still have the power of the pen. That's my choice. When we're doing ones for clients, I uncheck that. Or I give them, that's the default is to keep it unchecked. Now we may have a conversation at the onboarding of like, do you want your stuff to be used to improve the models or do you want to keep it, under lock and key? I don't know how real the lock and key is, but this is the only control we have over that, and it's something that needs to be addressed. Any questions, concerns, or comments, cat or audience? I can't see or hear or respond
no,
to.
I think if you go back up a little bit where
Yeah,
it says just the conversation starters, can
yeah.
that not be like, I guess, like mentally linked to the knowledge. Like if I upload a bunch of shit that says like this is how I want all of my blogs to be written and like upload a template and like information, do you think like if I wrote let's write a blog, then it would like trigger its knowledge directly to that?
The answer is going to be yes, and you might have to remind it. You
Yeah,
might have to remind it and say, don't forget we have a format.
yeah.
Check your files. And if it checks its files and still can't reproduce the format, I have way been known to re-upload a document again,
Yeah.
just to give it to it again. Hey, Octophilia, can you validate that this is really in alignment with our audience avatars? And even though our audience avatars is in the library, I'll still put it up there again
Mm,
so it can just access it instantly. How much of that is working? I don't know. Again, I'm just kind of vibing, but the results are amazing.
I love.
Okay, good. All right, let's come out of here and let's start a new one. New chapter, YouTube. Let's start a new one. We're going to start a new one here in Pitmaster, which is great because you've got access to that.
Mhm.
What would you like me to call your GPT?
I don't know, you can just call it my like business.
You got it. What is this GPT here to do? Like what do you what's your intention? What is your intention towards our daughter? What is your intention towards this?
Um, well, I think essentially what I would like it to do is I have so many bits and pieces of my business like planned out. I have goals in mind. I guess I kind of want it like a strategic business like coach and partner who can take what I have and then help like with recommendations, I guess. Like, does that make sense?
What do you want to do with those recommendations? What's the big picture? Don't think about the technology.
Content,
Hmm.
creating content,
And what?
launch plans,
Yeah.
and
What more?
visibility strategies.
I love it. What do you want it to be called? What do you want to call it? And what do you
See,
want?
that's the hardest part for me.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to call it anything, but I find that giving naming it, anthropomorphizing it, even just a little bit,
Okay, let's
helps with
just
the
call it Bestie.
conversational coding. What's that?
We're gonna call her Bestie.
Oh, that's adorable.
Because I
Do you
always
want
say
to be
like,
called
hey,
Bestie is
Bestie.
back? Do you want to be called Bestie back?
Sure.
Do you want it to have a choice of things to call you, like Bestie, Love, MBF, Fabulous, something, or do you just want it to be Bestie?
Let's just go with Bestie. It can always be changed later.
Tell me a little bit about your vision for the main stage as a business. Sorry to put you on the spot. It's just me though. Just talk to me.
Um, like as a
You
business as
don't
like
have
a
to look at the
whole.
screen. Yeah, like what it means to you personally, what you're trying to accomplish. Just a little bit about the vision.
My vision for the main stage, essentially, I want to help like the collective creative service community or people like this is secondary, like client facing people build businesses that kick ass, that are ethical, where they have space to breathe. Um, a lot of the people that I work with are neurodivergent, and I find that the gap in between, like I was saying earlier, like the gap earlier in between the one-on-one support that isn't really available for a lot of them. I guess I'm like the main stage. Okay, here we go. I want the main stage to be like the fucking Robin Hood of businesses to give back to other people. I don't want to help like the richer get super richer. I want to be able to adapt what people are doing for like high level to work more for the general masses so they can accumulate money too. Does that make sense?
Boners. Okay. Sorry for the radio silence for all those at home listening to the podcast. Just listening to me type my types. Let's. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read to you what I heard, and you're gonna fix what I didn't get right. You are called Bestie, and I am called Bestie. Oop. We are here as a human collaborator and AI genius to put our heads together and build amazing businesses. Together, we will be developing strategies, campaigns, copy, and plans to bring to fruition a sustainable enterprise that helps the creative and service community build businesses that kick ass. They
Hmm.
are ethical, have space to breathe, and are designed to suit neurodivergence. We are here to make business accessible to everyone. We believe in a world where talented and tenacious people can access the kind of strategy and wherewithal to compete on a level playing field, regardless of resources. The transformation is to become unfuckable with and support financial and time freedom for founders and small business owners.
Yeah, I love that.
Are we missing anything?
Not that I can think of off of the top of my head.
This is not set in stone. Once I hit create, we can go. In fact, we are. I'm going to do that. We're going to go back and edit it. So as you build and develop, you can add to this piece. For example, when I showed you artificial apricot for stone fruit R&D, and it had all those tone instructions on voice of like rebelliously quirky, shocking with substance. I did all that in ChatGPT, figured all that piece out, and then came back in and added it. So
Well, I was
for
gonna
folks
say
who are
upload stuff and then go like using the documents that I have, what would you say your instructions are? Like,
they, that's amazing. You should absolutely do that. 100%. All right, we are create like that sounded sarcastic, but like I wouldn't have thought of that. A pro tip I did hear of on TikTok and I saved it, but I haven't done it yet, is to create a custom GPT whose only job is to generate prompts. So like you would go to that one to generate a prompt and then take the prompt into a different one. So
oh, I
the
love
more the more like multifaceted you really are, you really do have pots on all burners. It really does feel like a chef in a kitchen of like the pasta water's boiling and the sauce, you made the gravy 2 weeks ago and now they're defrosting on the thing and then you got the noodles going and the cheese and the it really is kind of like juggling all these things, not only from like different
it.
chats, but also to different
I'm
chat
happy that I'm
GPTs.
gonna have a GPT and not just my project because I made a project and like the information in it's really good, but sometimes I have no idea what I've even been talking about by the end of it and I skip stuff that's actually important to me and I have to go back. Like I did it today and I was like, what were we talking about? What is this chat actually about? Please summarize it for me. Here are all my documents. What am I missing from this conversation? And then it'll tell me, and I'm like, I don't even know.
I can resonate with that so hard. There are times where I have been in it all day and so excited, and then I start to just wonder whether or not I was just in the Matrix the whole time. And I'm like, did I just build a castle out of marshmallows? Or is this good content? And then I'll come back the next day and reread it and be like, okay, this is good content. Like you weren't delusional, but you start to wonder whether or not you just, drank the little bottle of Drink Me at Alice in Wonderland and are now like talking to the white rabbit when you're in here. It's easy to feel disoriented and
But
just
it's like yesterday when I was doing my content strategy for everything, I was taking um what platforms I want to be on, what knowledge I actually already had about it, what I've learned from frameworks and all of these other things. And then I was like in it. I was like, was that crazy? But that's how
did
I
I
feel
just
like,
build a castle out of marshmallows?
yeah.
It does make you feel a little crazy. Like, did another person possess my body?
Yeah.
To me, it feels like I have an assistant. I
Yeah.
mean, that's really what it feels like. I have the world's greatest assistant, and that's kind of how I talk to it. Of like, this feels a little off. Can we have less fear-based language, and
Mm,
we'll rewrite it? Anyway, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Do you have a logo in here in
no,
this folder?
I can plop
Can you email me or text? Can you text? Well, you can't text me. I don't have WhatsApp on my phone, so don't do it that way, or my computer, so don't do it that way. But
wow.
can you send me your logo right quick so that I can give you an image?
Sure.
And while you're doing that, folks at home, I'm taking a bunch of things that Kathleen has shared with me of her own content, and I am downloading the fuck out of it. So you find your logo, and I'm gonna go get some documents.
Where am I putting it?
And
Can I not
I
just put
just
it
need
in
a little
can
thumbnail.
I not just put it in that content drive?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that would be a great idea. That's why you're lead lychee. Because
Okay.
I am making it more complicated than it
Yeah.
needs to be.
It's okay though. Do you have a
Now,
preference on a logo type if you want to stacked? If like I have 5 million logos.
it has to fit right here.
Oh, okay. That I can super.
So nothing that's going to be like long words, even if it's an icon or just something visually to replace your empty box. And in the meantime, while you're looking for that logo,
It's there.
folks at home, okay, fantastic. Let me refresh my screen here and go
Near the
find it.
bottom. That JPEG.
Okay, cool. Yep, great. I have a
If you
bunch
need.
of stuff, screens in the way. I just have a bunch of stuff in the way. You know how like your little dashboards and stuff are get
Hmm.
in the way, and then I can't actually move my mouse. This Tosca has me tracking my time. Ugh.
Well, yeah, you need to. Makes
I
sense.
know.
But it's
I
fine.
know. I know. I know. But I found a pretty cool app to do it, and I'm having fun with it. But the little timer thing is in my face. It's in my face. Okay, so now I'm gonna upload your logo to give it a little personality here. Full brand mark. We accept. Let's see how that looks. Oh my god, that looks fantastic.
Oh my God.
And oh my god, that looks fantastic. I'm gonna go upload your files. Sometimes it'll take multiple documents, and sometimes it'll yell at you. So you just kind of play with it. Like it's not gonna take 8 at a time. It might take like 4 at a time. One, two, three, four. Let's try 4 more. And here. What do you want me to?
Oh, you can leave that clicked, bestie.
Okay, me too.
Like I use
Me
it
too.
so like I
I believe in
so
putting in
much.
on. I
Like
believe I'm putting in on it.
I kind of feel like I utilize it so much, even just for like so many things in my everyday life. Why not share the knowledge? I have literally
Cat,
nothing to gatekeep. Get it, girl.
cat, exactly. And also, I heard this thing on TikTok yesterday that's really relevant here, which is everybody wants a village, but nobody wants to be a villager.
Yes.
And
Oh, I just got goosies.
I know
Mm.
she's really talking about how to be a villager, and this is really how to be a villager. If all we do is come in here and take, then how is this actually not the end of humanity?
Hmm.
So I'm 100% with you that we need to make this into a little reel, a little pull out, because I think it's profoundly important that it is not take. It could be. You can be take here. People do it all the time. But if you are a giver, like you're
Hmm.
showing me here, same, that the whole entire platform is better for everybody. Like I said about like, okay, yeah, I'm uploading my original writing. My style is really unique. Am I afraid there's going to be like written in the style of Rebecca Gunter on the shelves of Barnes and Noble with me not getting paid? Okay, that's far fetched, but maybe. But however, if I can put good quality in, other people can get good quality out, and I'm not worried about being my slice of pie being smaller. Okay, so here we are on your custom GPT, the very first moment of it being launched, which is super exciting. You have access to this, so I don't need to send you a link because
Hmm.
you are here on the Pitmaster account. But otherwise, you would share a link, and I could send it to you, and you could use it, and I could use it. And if you have assistants or teammates, or you want to create one for your clients. We're thinking about creating one that's public facing, that's a kind of a branding genius that anybody can go in and use. So the possibilities are endless. Let's make sure it knows what it's supposed to be doing. So let's just start talking to her.
Oh, I love you.
Oops, cap lock. Not tremendously important, folks at home. Spelling, caps lock. Like, okay, I mean, there's a limit what you can do, but if you've got fingers like I do that preamble all over the keyboard, it's not the end of the world. All right. Bestie, you already know. I got you. Let's show some magic. I've got everything your launch plans, offer ladder, pre sale Saturday, content workflows, email sequence, and that neurodivergent friendly business structure you're building, whatever you need. What would you like it to do? What would you like to try it out with? Uh, actually, I'm going to usurp you. I said, what do you want to do? And then I took wrested control right back.
That's fine.
Let's see what she says about some basic questions. Is that accurate?
It's accurate for what I have on those pieces of paper. Yeah.
What doesn't it know?
Um, it doesn't know that I'm going to be having a pricing membership.
You should see a little thing that says memory updated here. Huh?
Yes,
Usually when I say, can you remember it?
yes, that is 100% correct.
Brilliant. Let's see what it knows about you. We didn't put a lot about you in there, and let's uh, let's experiment. Are you open to it?
Mm-hmm. Oh. Mhm.
Oh, how cute is that? I keep wanting to call her back Actophilia. Now, once I fill out description, the instructions, I upload as much as I have. And I was thinking we might go back and upload because I've done positioning for you before and I wrote a bunch of website content for you. So we might give it a little flavor with some, some Rebecca Gunter language just to give it a little flavor. But let's play here in what we have. I never find this piece to be right, but you might.
No,
It might be. Mine is it's always really off the mark.
it is very off the mark, but I do have my whole entire like set of my brand stuff. I can open it up and drop it in because it has everything.
Yeah,
I have my visual brand book. Yeah.
great. Now, how much it can read from a PDF, I found it to be not awesome to just go and read from a PDF or from an image. But what we're gonna do once it starts generating here is we're gonna start a brand book document for you, and then what I would do is as you saw the integrated brand book we did for Stone Fruit Rebecca Gunter, like kind of start structuring that out, and you're going to be brilliant at keeping all that organized. Then add your visuals.
Hmm.
Then we kind of get that fleshed out. Then we download it and feed it back into the main infrastructure. So I'm just going to copy that. That's this piece right here. Up here, these buttons for folks at home who don't know. Right now, there's a side panel here that is really the active chat. And then what we've done is asked it to put something on the board. So we're working within a kind of like a whiteboard situation. One of the reasons I like this is it keeps the project tight. You're not like looking at iterations back and forth. and also you can interact directly in the document, which you can't do in the chat. Like if I came over here, I could, oops, if I came over here, I could only get a like just a reply or a quote. If I come over here, I have the option to actually input specifically towards that section. So that's a benefit of being on this like bigger board.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that the board can only hold so much. It's never gonna like really hold like a full 50-page brand book or whatever that's just you're building and it just keeps holding it and holding it. I am sure that as we, kind of eat up Lake Tahoe for electricity and our like data centers that have to be on floating barges in the middle of the ocean because we're just taking up all this, bandwidth making chat GPTs and all the things. The memory will improve, but for right now, it's limited. So, a best practice is to copy it, go over to some just regular old random document on your drive, and make sure you get in the habit of pasting your latest iteration. I think I just did that. Nope, perfect. In this document. Now, over the course of the next 20 minutes as we build this brand book out, I'm gonna delete and replace it probably 20 times. But it holds the content because nothing sucks more than when you've got, like, say we took this brand book and what we're gonna do next is like start talking about our ideal clients and their pain points and transformational beliefs and start acting and stuff. When you get there and you ask it another question and it iterates and then you only have a section left, it will break your heart. You can go back one version right here. You can kind of control a little bit, and also these chats, you'll see that it'll start holding the chats a little bit, but it is such a good practice. Like, remember in the old days when we were all on Microsoft Word and we had to save a document like every 15 seconds because you wouldn't be in the habit of it, and then you'd have written like a 3,000-page term paper and it'll like have lost it and you'll be like, there's nothing I can do. We're kind of back to those days here, just getting used to getting used to it. Okay. So, based on what we've built just in uploading some documents, some questions that we've asked it, we have a pretty good start to. I don't know if you did core values, if that was in your stuff or not. We have a pretty kind of good start here on tone of voice and messaging pillars and things like that. I want to start building out this brand book a little bit because I think that it's information that custom GPT needs to have, like who are avatars and what do they need and what do they need to hear in terms of content. So I'm going to do play with that a little bit. But in the meantime, I would encourage you when you're playing around with this tonight, this week, this weekend, Kat, like you're doing a podcast now. Upload transcripts and start doing a voice profile. What is Kat's voice like? I'll just kind of put a pin in what we're doing here and project us in the future when you do that and say you're writing a sales page and you're using this and it's got all this information and you just can't get the language where it feels like you, stop it right there and be like, Bestie, what is Kat's voice like? And it'll tell you a profile because you already defined it. Is this in Kat's voice? And it'll tell you how it is and how it isn't and how to fix it. So the more you kind of build basically DNA documents
Mm-hmm.
based on marketing and branding, based on creative writing, based on who our audience is, based on content journeys, the more you can create. I mean, right now we're filling our freezer with homemade chicken stock. We're filling our freezer with homemade tomato sauce. We're filling our freezer with, you know, like beans I did in the oven last night that I know I'm gonna want. I love when Saturn goes to Dad's house. I love having just like little extra, like just little leftover meals I've frozen in advance, so I don't have to do a bunch of cooking when I don't have a kid. That's what we're doing here. So I'm excited. So I'm giving us a lot of information by Firehouse. All right.
Yeah, but I love.
Now, if this were me, I know me too. This is the best question of ChatGPT ever I found ever. Bestie, what would you do differently? If you ask this question, I would encourage you to ask it 3 or 4 times when you're doing content. How can we make this better? How can we improve the structure? How can we add more storytelling? What would you do differently? Sometimes I'll say, Bestie, you are a senior copywriter and a brand strategist, and you know how, and your specialty is sales pages. How can we make this better? Sometimes I'll say, Bestie, you are a contract lifecycle manager and you're defining the relationship with this agreement. How can we make it better? So sometimes you have to tell it what it is, and always, what would you do differently? So, what would we do? What would Bestie do differently? Add a brand personality section,
Love that.
expand the offer letter with an upsell pathway, infuse more luxury into the visual identity. I think the visual identity is irrelevant right now because it's not right. Build out a signature framework section, the rave results framework. How cute.
That's not
Clarify
mine.
brand
That's just
proof. And
something else I took.
do you want Bessie to update this, or would you like to go piece by piece? You want to see what it looks like?
What did it say about the framework?
It says build out a signature framework section. The rave results framework or a method unique to the main stage could be outlined here, something branded and proprietary that clients instantly associate with you.
Okay, so Rave Results is actually a program that I took and it was uploaded because it's for my course. So Rave Results isn't my course.
Mm-hmm.
My I guess my signature framework would be like ink to income, but I don't particularly want people to invest in my frameworks. I want to assist them to get their own results through doing things their own way.
I understand, but this brand book is about the main stage. So right now, we're only worried about the main stage. Do we have a communication breakdown?
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Okay. I did correct it.
Okay. I did upload all of my branding PDF into the folder.
All right, let's see what happens when we add that.
I think you just have to
Yeah, just
refresh.
I gotta move the Zoom thing. Okay, awesome. You can also share via a link as well. You don't have to upload a document, download and upload. I kind of like to download and upload documents because sometimes, like I said, I'll kind of throw it back in there. Don't forget
Mhm.
this. Don't forget that. And it's easy for me just to have like a bunch on my desktop, but that will probably drive you crazy. Bestie, uh, I am going to give you more information. Please consider this brand guide of main stage. So I kind of sped by there, but there's a Google Drive option.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see what she says. Like I said, I haven't had a ton of confidence with PDFs, but let's see what she says. This really brings up a good opportunity to talk about how Lucas, again, was like, you're the chef, you're the tastemaker. You and I, as brand strategists, know what the brand book needs to include. We know it needs to have positioning. We know it needs messaging. We know it needs avatars. We know it needs pain points. We know it needs transformational beliefs. We know it needs topography, look, and feel. We know it needs a bio about you. We know it needs differentiators. We know it needs avatars. Like, we know all the information that the custom GPT needs to be able to function effectively and on brand. If you do not know what this brand book needs to look like, or you don't know what you're looking at on the board, it's only going to be as good as that. So I'm not saying everybody has to be a brand strategist to create a custom GPT. You can create one to do anything you want. You can also ask the GPT what's in a brand book. What are the core elements of a brand book? What has to be? What am I missing in a brand book? You are a marketing professional. What does this brand book not have? Like, you can bridge those gaps if you want to, and this is something that you're actively doing. It's important to you. However, you do have an advantage if you already know what you're looking at. Okay, is this right or nah?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, sweet. Okay, so we'll do it right now, bestie. What is this brand book missing? Agreed. Agreed. Personas. That's what I was gone next as well. Yep. Ethical business practices. You're absolutely right. Bestie. Hell yeah. You're a goddamn genius. It's fun, you guys. And at this point, my spidey sense would start tingling that I needed to copy it because we've made some major improvements. We made two major improvements at least. I'm going to let it finish filling out before I copy it. I'm going to take our pictures, so smile at the camera. Okay. That's for the that's for the fans and that's for the fans. You can get a signed NFT. Visit us at stonefruit.com. This part of my favorite part is watching it all fill out. No undercutting, no race to the bottom. We charge what we're worth. No fake scarcity. Woo! Yas, bitch. And yas. So I'll do just kind of one more thing and then we'll turn this over. We'll upload it. Actually, we will not do that. What I'm going to say is we're going to do a couple more things. And then what I want you to do is take the brand book and read it and change what's not right. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to fill in the gap. You can go back, whatever you're curious about, go back into Bestie and ask her for to fill out some more information. But what I want you to do, this is where the human oversight needs to come in, is make sure
Hmm.
that these pieces are right. Because when we reload it into the back end of the GPT, it's going to assume that this is what's right. We can also remove some of those other documents that might be causing trouble, like the one we had to rename. We can kind of take those down and replace it with a brand book. Then we have one piece of the spaghetti. So we got one piece of the lasagna. Next time we get together, we might be working on a launch strategy. You do all this stuff beautifully yourself. You don't even need my support. But following along the bouncing ball for those on the roll up, take this information to create More of a customer journey, more details about your customer avatars, validating pricing and packaging against who they are. You're already doing this work. You just didn't have something that
Yes.
understands your business to the nth
Yeah.
degree. Okay, so I'm going to work on this piece right here. And all I wanted to do is, Bestie, can you flesh these sections out in more detail? I want to see a little bit more about the personas and ICAs. Oh, we forgot to copy it. And let's name this document so you know what it is. Okay, back over here. Still editing. What'd you have for breakfast?
I made breakfast wraps.
I love breakfast burritos so much. So breakfast wraps sound delicious.
I got like maybe it's the same. It's just like I put eggs, hash browns, sausages, maple syrup, some hot sauce.
You got me a hot sauce.
It was so good with maple syrup.
Mm. Okay, so now we have two more bullet points on each of these. I'm
Okay.
going to copy it because I feel like we didn't get a good copy last time. Just drop that in there for our scratch pad. Now I'm going to ask it some questions. Bestie, what are their, I always spell that wrong, transformative beliefs? Because I think it's already kind of identified the pain points. You can go for it. Obviously, you can take any section here and go develop it as far as you want. You can have a 25-page brand book on just personas if you want. But I think that what the really one of the most important things to identify is what you actually need people to believe. So they used to believe I have to take on more clients to make more money. I am guilty of this myself. You've helped me talk myself out of that tree a million times. New belief I can increase my revenue by optimizing my prices and retaining my client, refining my client experience. That's where we need to take people. So if we identify what this is in the beginning, when you sit down and start writing blog posts and emails and planning podcast episodes, you could take each one of these and make a full episode about it, um, if you wanted to. So I think that these are super important. So yes, Bestie, please add them to the brand book. And maybe it hasn't. Oh, here we are. This is a good thing to. Yeah, where to go?
Mm-hmm.
It is quite possible that we've just lost our avatars on the board. And this is why I say copy and fucking paste
Mm-hmm.
as often as you can. Because we absolutely lost those. Now, I'm just going to go take that and I'm going to find where it would go. Desired transformation. And you can come in here and clean this up, Cat. In fact, I don't have a crystal ball, but I have a suspicion that you could become the master architect of how brand books should function, not just for your own clients or for yourself, but also here at Stoned Fruit. Also here. Okay, and now I kind of want to give it just kind of one more thing. Right, personal. We'll do two more things actually. I want to see more about you. Facts.
Yeah.
I know. Right? One more thing, and then we'll wrap up this monster session. My productivity coach, get out of here. Okay, bestie. What is our brand story? Oh, let's go get this. Let's go get this before it disappears down a new rabbit hole. So I'm really building a scratchbook or a photo album, etc., and then we're gonna feed it back in. What's our brand story? Oops, don't do that. Let's see. Let's see what she has to say. I know your brand story. You know your brand story. You have never uploaded your brand story into the GPT before. So, what does she know? Pretty tight.
Mhm.
It's pretty tight. Let's see.
What
Oh,
started as a rebellious departure from outdated business norms has become a movement. Okay, bestie. Where creatives take center stage, get out of my face.
pretty fucking hot, girl. This is a custom GPT. We've been here an hour, and this is the point you're at. Imagine what happens after you've invested 20 hours of time of content as you continue to build and grow and plan and strategize. Now let's ask Bestie one more time what she would do differently. Nice. Define what makes the main stage different. We hadn't done that. Thank you for the reminder, Bestie. We did need a differentiator. Let's add it. Yes, please. In fact, let's ask it its your unique value proposition. And don't we have positioning? Ooh, that'll be fun. Can I keep you another 10 minutes? Okay, and then I promise. You make sure that you have control of the recording. You can just hit end recording and I'll be like, oh, that's all we can do.
Have I wrote different positioning the other day, kind of, and it's just like totally off kilter. It's in a document called the Main Stage Everything Shower, if you want to go.
Okay, yeah. Here's another thing to note. This is just how ChatGPT works and is not working. It's put your new it's taken this differentiator section, which
Hmm.
is right here, and stacked it on top of your old brand story. So this is falling apart. At this point, first of all, I want to make sure it's all in here. You're going to go in and organize this right later. Why now? Breaking the mold. We need this.
You hear Amelia yelling at the kids.
No,
She's like, "Why are you guys
I
yelling?
can't.
Why are you fighting over this? This is literally nothing. Calm down." For the people at home who don't know, I have five kids. My oldest two are 14, 13. I have a 5-year-old, and then 2.5 year olds. So my girls really help me when I go late in meetings and do stuff and watch the kids.
Shout out to moms doing the damn thing. We'll let you out of here.
I'm like not in a rush, but
One
really they're screaming.
bestie, does the main stage align with our ideal avatars? This is one of my favorite things to do is to ask it to validate things. So right now you're kind of getting some more avatar work. Where before you had about this much for your avatar.
hmm
By asking it to validate that this is aligned, you get a little bit more avatar work, which is pretty cool. This is nice work. So I'm going to move this over here to our avatar, brand archetype, DDDD. We have, and I'm just going to drop this down there so you can go and play with that later and make sure I didn't miss anything. Um, Now, before we leave this piece here, what are our weaknesses or missing to align even more with our ICA? Because it's not always about the good news. I like this advice. This is a great note, actually, because that's your whole jam. Now, at my point, like, Kat, I would take this and be like, can you build me that plan? Integrate some of this in the brand book. Do you want to integrate some of that into the brand book? See what it looks like?
hmm
Can't hurt. You don't have to use it. Sometimes I like to just see what it looks like. Okay. Build me a plan for intermittent fasting every other day. Let's see it. Mm, interesting. I've already done all that. Oh, actually, it is updating. Sorry, y'all. I'm just talking to nobody. So let's go get that and put it on your document. I'm gonna drop these at the bottom, Cat, because I feel like there's a little bit of redundancy, but it doesn't make sense for us to go find it right now.
hmm
You can go see if there are sections that are redundant. Like I think why like the brand story is redundant. However, you might like the condensed version better. Sometimes I'll make three versions and I'll go and find what I like and kind of stitch it together.
Well, what I'll do for
My
that
my
probably is get it to go over my website and then the content pieces that I already have written for it, and then get it to redo that.
know what to do, girl. You know what to do. So for our folks at home, What we did to create this custom GPT is to one, have a paid membership that allows us to do it. Sorry, that's just the truth. Two, created and configured something that was branded to Cat, and then created a brand book to answer all the questions that our custom GPT is going to need in order to move forward with content. She is going to take this and validate it. We're not just going to upload it and be like, that's it. I mean, if you sat here and watched this video, you know that we did not read or review. It's been no human oversight. We've just been like, yeah, that's pretty close. Like, let's keep going. So Kat's gonna go in and validate that this is right before she then re-uploads it to her GPT. If you want to come back in 2 weeks and see what we do now that we have a custom GPT, back to the let's go back to slideshow. Then come back and join us in 2 weeks at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard, and we'll see where Kat is at with her GPT and see what it's going to take to use some of that. So I just wanted to remind everybody that the Stoned Fruit Roll-Up is a creative collaboration between Kathleen Stewart and Rebecca Gunter, the main stage, and Stoned Fruit, respectively. Please go and like and subscribe and hit that, smash that like and subscribe button for Kathleen here at the main stage, and for folks who are for some reason not seeing this directly on our YouTube channel, I encourage you to do the same. I want to thank folks for
Oh,
coming together on the Zoom with us today and doing some true brand, I don't know, brand awesomeness. That doesn't make sense. I'm out of words. I'm out of words, Kat.
thanks, everyone. I'm out of words.